Hi, my name's Kim Shopper, and I did the sheep ration program. My two mentors for this project were Dr. Varghese out of the Computer Science and Information Systems Department and Dr. Luther from the Animal Science and Meat Department. Why did I choose a sheep ration balancing program for a senior seminar project? One of the main reasons that I came across this type of a project was because of my vast variety of interests. I actually have a math major and two minors, animal science and computer science, and I wanted to try to find a program or a project that could combine all three of those. The cool things about this project is it eliminates human calculation errors and rounding errors, and the other really great thing about the project is it is very efficient. It takes probably at least half an hour, 45 minutes worth of work, handwritten calculations, looking up formulas, looking up the different requirements, and handwriting it down. And all you have to do is go into this program, input some little bit of data, select some things, and then it spits out the result. So my current results right now, I originally did want it to be an Android application, however that did not work out, unfortunately. I do possibly want to implement it in the future though still. It is currently a Java application, and it is implemented almost completely in the console at the moment. I did have some snags with the GUI on the combo boxes, and I will talk about that in just a minute here. So currently my goal for this project is I need to convert it back into this GUI. The GUI is shown right there on the screen. That is not exactly what shows up once you first run the program, but that is as soon as you make the first two selections. So this is the overview GUI. The first thing the user does is they have to select something from the first menu. After the first menu is selected, a second menu shows up in the sheep classification slot. After an item is selected from that list, then the weight list shows up. The forage and concentrate lists stay on the screen the whole time, as well as the sheep type. There are two buttons in the GUI. Once calculate is clicked, currently the results show up in the console. However, I am going to implement a new screen that will pop up and the results will be there. And for whatever reason, if the user decides that they just don't want to balance the ration right now, they can click exit and everything will disappear. So here's a little mini example of how those lists really do work. First thing they do is they select a sheep type. This is going to be ewe, ram, or lamb, as shown right there. So in my example, I decided to pick ewe. Once they pick ewe, the sheep classification menu will pop up. From there, the results right there are the items that you can pick from. After they pick something from that menu, the sheep weight in kilograms menu will show up. So in my example, I chose ewe, I chose maintenance, and I chose 50 kilograms for the sheep. In the bottom left-hand corner there, you can see the console results. This is just some of the results. So what I decided to do was reiterate what the user had selected as my first console output. I wanted to show them what they selected just to make sure if they selected something incorrectly that they could confirm. Now if they chose something incorrectly, they can go back to any of the lists and reselect something. It will not affect the program, and then they can continue from there. The next step is to output the sheep's requirements to show the user exactly what the sheep requires in their diet, in case they are concerned or they wanted to know. It is not actually crucial for them to know this information, but I figured it won't hurt them to know it. The third step, which is not shown on the screen yet, it shows the actual ration that the user must give to the animal. Here's my logic for the combo boxes. So the first thing that the user does is they select either ewe, ram, or lamb. From there you can see all the text in blue on the screen. those are the items that will show up in each list. So if they pick U, you can see all that blue underneath U. That is actually the items that will show up. RAM, same thing. It only actually has one selection. I could have broken them into two categories, however the requirements are the same for both the lambs and the yearlings, so I decided to just make it one selection. And to not confuse the user, I do put that selection into the combo box so that they can select it, because I didn't want to skip over that step and confuse anyone. Lamb, there's two choices there. Once you pick something, you can see in the black text there are the weights. Those are set weights, and they are in kilograms. It is traditional nutrition to use kilograms for the weight, not pounds. The one thing that I am working on is finding out the formula to figure out the sheep requirements without having set weights. Once that's done, I can actually eliminate those weight lists that you see there, and hopefully the user could just type in a weight and go from there. They wouldn't have to pick a select weight, because say they chose U and maintenance, but their sheep is 55 kilograms, and they don't know whether they should pick 50 or 60. This can eliminate some of those problems. This is probably something that's going to be implemented in the future. It probably will not be implemented before the end of this class. So, limitations and problems that I've had occur between the last presentation that I gave and now. The main one was really the GUI combo boxes. I had a weird thing happening because of my little kind of cascading logic for the combo boxes. What was happening at first was when I was selecting something from the first list, a list would populate for the second list. If I went back and chose something else, it would just append every new list to it, so I would have just this really large selection of items, and it wasn't actually accurate. After that, I implemented a remove all. From there, a lot of bugs started happening. If the user were to reselect something different because they chose their mind, it would just crash. It would crash the entire code. So I did not want to lose momentum on the project, and that's why currently my results are in the console. However, that issue with the combo boxes has been resolved, so now I just need to convert it all back into the GUI. I eliminated the selection of multiple forages mainly because of logic. Now mind you, it does limit the user a little bit more because they can only pick one forage. However, if you think about it from a nutrition standpoint on sheep, they generally only select one forage anyway to feed them and multiple concentrates. Another limitation that could possibly be considered a negative thing is you cannot customize the feed compositions. Each feed that you select has a set requirements. It has all of its composition predetermined from the NRC research. If a user were to get a feed analysis done on any of their particular feed and they wanted to use their values for this program, unfortunately that is not implemented to work. And another potential negative part of this program that was actually brought up as a question from the previous presentation that I gave for the midterm. Someone had mentioned whether you could save any of this or not, and unfortunately, unless the user were to take just a screenshot on their computer to save their results or copy the text, there really isn't any profiles set up. There's no way to save your user interface, so to speak, so each time they work, they'd have to redo it. And then as I mentioned earlier, my future goal really would be to implement this in Android app, because it's really streamlined and simple, so it's something that really belongs more on a phone. As you could see from that GUI, it's a small interface, it's not a lot of work, it would be perfect for just a little cell phone screen. That's it. I hope you enjoyed my show. Any questions, feel free to either email or let me know in class.